And we're recording. Right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City of Tumwater Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026, 7 o'clock, and we're called to order. I'll do the roll call. Commissioner Edwards?
Here.
Great. Commissioner Kirkpatrick?
Here.
Commissioner Kotek?
Here.
Commissioner Nelson?
Here.
Commissioner Roundsley? Vice Chair Staff?
Here.
Me, your chair, Commissioner Robbins. So we do have a quorum, and we'll move right ahead. Do we have any changes for tonight's agenda? Okay. We'll move on then, no changes. Let's move on to number 4, item 4, our approval of minutes from June 9th. Oh, terrific. Here's Commissioner Roundsley. Oh, you're here. Any comments or revisions or suggestions for our minutes from June?
Move approval of the minutes of June 9th, 2026. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kirkpatrick and seconded by Commissioner Roundsley to approve our meeting minutes from June 9th, 2026. All in favor of approving those minutes, please say aye.
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 We are unanimous. Those meeting minutes are approved. Thank you for the quick turnaround on those. Moving on to commissioners' reports. Yoke, let's go to our directors or deputy directors.
I have nothing. Dana, do you have anything to share? Oh, no, not today.
Okay. Great. Let's go on to general public comment. We will have an actual public hearing in a moment, but is there anyone online? There's nobody here in the room. Is there anybody online who would like to address the Planning Commission on general matters?
We have an Aaron Lawrence online.
Aaron Lawrence, if you'd like to address the Planning Commission on general matters, this would be the time to do it. You have a couple of minutes, and if you could state your name, your address, and if you are representing anyone. Okay, sounds like not. All right, no public comment. Now we'll move on to our public hearing portion, our item number 8 for ordinance number 2026-008, the building demolition provision. What I'll do is I will describe our process, go through the process. It'll feel like a little repetition. Bear with me. Okay, I'll first introduce us all. I will explain that our role as a planning commission is to advise the city council. We don't take actions ourselves directly. We advise the city council with our discussion and any votes we take. And then for our hearing tonight, once I've called and opened the hearing, I'll state the purpose of the hearing. We'll hear a staff report. We can ask questions. The commission can ask questions of staff. Then I'll open public comment on the topic of our hearing. And then I will close public comment while we then can discuss both public comment and any staff presentation. And then we can decide how we want to proceed by taking an action, revision or not. Okay, and then after that, then I'll close the hearing. Okay, pretty clear, everybody? Okay, so let's move into that then. I am Commissioner Elizabeth Robbins, the chair. We have Commissioner Kirkpatrick and Commissioner Roundsley in the room, and online we have Vice Chair Staff, Commissioner Kotek, Commissioner Edwards, and Commissioner Nelson. And here in the room, we have our Director, Brad Medrud, Community Development Director, and I'm sorry about your title, Dana. Dana Bowers, our primary
Associate planner.
associate planner. Not Spencer, I'm not too sure of your title.
Associate planner.
Very good. Another associate planner, Spencer McKenna. So we're covered with my staff here tonight. Again, I'll repeat that our role as Planning Commission is to advise the City Council through our discussions and votes, for advisory only. And then I will go ahead and open the hearing that we'll have, and we will hear from staff on the briefing on our topic, which is, I guess I should probably back up and say, our topic tonight is, again, ordinance number 2026-008, and this is about modifying, revising Tumwater Municipal Code to address building demolition requirements, particularly related to removing foundations of buildings. And we can decide, our purpose tonight is to decide whether we approve the draft revisions as is, whether we want to modify them, or whether we want to punt on that. That's our object tonight. All right, let's go on to our staff portion.
All right, next slide, please. My name is Brad Medrud, Community Development Director. I'll be walking you through the ordinance. Background for the ordinance's intent is to amend Chapter 1550 of the Municipal Code to address building demolition requirements for removal of foundations. Currently, that section doesn't explicitly address the removal of foundations, and we've had some code enforcement issues as a result of that. So these are to clarify what needs to happen when somebody submits for a building demo permit. As Chair Robbins mentioned, the Commission will be asked to conduct a public hearing, take public testimony, and forward a recommendation of approval to the Council on the ordinance. Next slide. Again, a little summary of the amendments that are proposed. The first is dealing with some amendments to the definition section of the building demo chapter. It adds including foundations to the definition of demolition. It adds a definition of foundation. This was in response to Planning Commissioner comments at the initial briefing. Foundation is defined by the International Building Code, means the structural element that transfers weight of a building to the underlying earth. And then C, we added a sentence, when permit applications for replacement structures have been submitted to the city, valuation does not include removal of foundation. To the definition of valuation, the purpose of this is we do have situations where the building is being demoed, but the foundation will be reused by the next building. And so we wanted to make sure that's included when we think about valuation for the cost of the demolition. Next slide, please. We've added a new section, foundation removal. And the first part is when a structure is completely demolished, all foundations, the slabs must be removed unless otherwise approved by the building official. This gives the building official the ability to require, basically clean up the site. Things like pilings and so forth, which perhaps are, one, is way too expensive to take out, and two, they probably don't interfere with the proposed use, could probably remain. But this gives discretion to the building official to make that call. Second part is if approved by the building official, foundations may remain. This is very similar to what I just stated. Next slide, please. We've also amended the application requirements to include including foundations and the items required on a site plan for demolition, and then also how the site will be addressed after the demolition, including removing foundation, final grading, and erosion control to the items included in the written work schedule for demolition. Just a little further clarification. Currently, we've, without this language, we've had buildings removed, but the foundations remain in place, and it's created, in some cases, a safety hazard. We've had required, obviously, that they fill the foundation, but there's still issues with that. Actually, there's a building, that is right next to Fred Meyer, where they had removed the building itself, but there was I believe, an issue with the property owner. They either had financial difficulties or so forth, and they had made promises to remove the foundation, but didn't do so. And we didn't have a mechanism up front to say, here's what you need to do and make sure you do it, kind of thing. Next slide, please. So in terms of the steps, we have completed the State Environmental Protection Act's determination process. The appeal period ended on the 11th of this month. The notice of intent, which is the 60-day period for the Department of Commerce to let all the other state agencies know what we're doing, will end before the General Government Committee hears this. So next steps for council will be, we are on the schedule for general government on July 15, and then we are also on the schedule for consideration by the full council on the 21st. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Questions or comments? Any hands? Zoom people. All right, I will, let me just explain our rules. I don't know if there's anybody wanting to address us on this, on our public hearing matter, but I'll explain our rules for public comment right here before I open public comment. And that is to ask everybody who might be speaking to speak clearly, to give your name and address, and if you represent anybody. I'm going to limit comments to 2 or 3 minutes, my discretion. Order if we have loads of speakers, but I don't think that's occurring tonight. If there were a lot of speakers representing a lot of same organization, we'd ask that there be just one representative from that particular organization. And speakers are to address all comments to the Planning Commission, noting that comments should be relevant to our topic matter and should not be personal. And then if there appears to be repetitive comments, and we will want to avoid that. And of course, if there's any unruly behavior or noise making or other things like that, we will not allow. Okay, I will open the public hearing. Again, the matter before the Planning Commission is to consider ordinance number O-2026-008, building demolition, to include the foundation amendments. And our object here tonight is to decide how we want to proceed in making a recommendation to council and take public testimony. All right, so is there anyone who would like to address the Planning Commission on our in our public hearing tonight on ordinance number O-2026-008? Or Ms. Lawrence?
Aaron Lawrence is available online. I'm not sure if they're here to take public or to make public comment.
Aaron Lawrence, if you would like to address the Planning Commission on our public hearing, this would be your time. If you can state your name, your address, and if you represent anyone.
Just so you know, you're muted, so we aren't able to hear you until you unmute.
Can you tell if they're trying to speak?
I can't.
Okay. And there's nobody else, right?
No.
All righty. Well, we appreciate your being here. We apologize if you're trying, but we can't get your audio portion. But that looks like there's not getting access to that if you're trying. Okay. It looks like we've heard from everybody that wants to speak. Nobody here. So I'm going to close the public comment portion of our hearing, and we can discuss anything else if we'd like. We've heard. And then the matter before us again is to decide what we want to recommend to council. We can approve the amendments as they are. We can make changes to the amendments, ordinance, or we can decide not to take action. Any,
I would move to send this to council with a do approve recommendation.
I would second.
okay.
Gina, I think.
Commissioner Kuzic.
It's been moved by Commissioner Roundsley and seconded by Commissioner Kirkpatrick to forward the ordinance numbers O-2026-008, building demolition, to City Council for approval. Any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote now. All in favor of approving the amendments for ordinance number O-2026-008, building demolition, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes, and ordinance number, or our action tonight is to forward or to recommend to council to approve ordinance number, the amendments for ordinance number O-2026-008. Building demolition. Great, thanks everybody. Let's move on to a briefing for,
Mr. Robbins, so the public hearing is closed.
oh, sorry, you're right. Very good. I formally close our public hearing portion. Thank you very much.
No worries, I just wanted to confirm.
You need the time? 17? Is that 17? Okay, okay. Okay. Good reminder. Okay, let's move on to our next item, which is a briefing for ordinance number O-2026-016, parking lot lighting. Brad, is that you again?
Yep.
My apologies.
It says screen sharing is paused, so. All right, looks like,
Let's try again. Share, we'll share. There we are.
okay, thank you. Next slide, please. Again, my name is Brad Medrud. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Tumwater, bringing forth an ordinance that deals with the height of off-street parking area lighting. The intent of this particular ordinance is to amend one section of the Tumwater Municipal Code, 1850-060, off-street parking areas, which is part of our off-street parking requirements. To address requirements for the height of parking lot lighting for large multiple building complexes or multiple tenant buildings adjacent to I-5. Next slide. Next slide, please. The ordinance will modify the height requirements, again, for large multi-building complexes or multiple tenant buildings on I-5, raising the allowable height of parking lot lights from 24 to 37 feet. The ordinance does not make any changes to the off-site illumination standards or other limits on site lighting that are found elsewhere in the code. Most importantly, 1840-035 exterior illumination lays out all of the requirements for limitations on the amount of light that can lead a site, what needs to be part of a lighting plan that's being reviewed, and all of those standards. All those things will remain in place. All the thing that is changing is just the height of the poles. Also, there are no changes to the lighting guidelines in the citywide design guidelines in this particular case. Next slide, please. The proposed language, also I just want to quickly state in the staff report, there's a little bit of history about the city's lighting ordinance and how it's evolved over time. It's terribly exciting reading, so I encourage you to read that. I've also included all of the city lighting standards in there, so if you want to just take a look at everything that the city does cover. The proposed amendments to 1850-060 deals specifically with section K, parking lot lighting. The strike through is the items that will be removed through the ordinance. So the first section will remain, except we'll take out the not exceeding 24 feet in height and add two subsections. The first one says, except as provided in the subsection below, parking lot lighting may not exceed 24 feet in height. So this would still be the standard elsewhere in the city. And then a very specific language dealing with large multi-building complexes adjacent to I-5, the 37 feet in height is added. Next slide, please. Staff is asking the Planning Commission to set a hearing date for July 14 for the ordinance after discussion at the briefing. Next slide, please. In terms of next steps, under the State Environmental Protection Act, any ordinance that we do requires SEPA review. We've completed a SEPA checklist on the 4th. The determination of non-significance was issued on June 12th, and we're expecting the appeal period to end on July 2nd. That will be before the public hearing if one is scheduled. Notice of intent was submitted to Commerce on June 4. The appeal period will end on August 3rd. That's important because the council can't take final action until that period is ended, unless they do an emergency ordinance. So for Planning Commission, we have a hearing scheduled for July 14 if the commission moves forward, and then council will pick this up for general government on July 15 and then consideration on August 18th. If you have any questions, I'm available.
Where did this come? That seems very, no. But also, if the amount of light it can produce can't change, then raising the height doesn't necessarily. Like, it's just gonna create more light pollution and less coverage, it feels.
Two parts to it. One, it's related to a cost issue for larger developments along I-5, number of light poles. So 24-foot high light poles versus 37, more poles are required, more conduit, more all of that. Second part is if the height changes and the other standards that are in 1840 don't change, the applicant will still need to demonstrate that they still meet the same standards at the property edge. Currently, they're not required, they're required to make sure that no more than 1 foot candle leaves the site. And so they prepare lighting plans that show the effects basically for the entire site. And if they have anything above 1 foot candle at the side, they either need to do additional shielding or they need to rearrange things so it doesn't occur. So whether or not the pole heights are 24 or 37 doesn't matter. Those same requirements will still apply to the site.
I have questions. Does that answer your question a little bit?
I acknowledge that.
I think I get like the outside exposure won't change, but by raising it, like, you're exposing a larger area.
Yeah. Yeah. More light.
Yeah. Is,
More scattered.
sorry, can I ask one more? So does the 37 feet come from some other, like, universal standard, or is that just?
It addresses, it comes from another standard in terms of other jurisdictions, how they handle larger developments. So Tumwater is unusual in the 24-foot standard, and when I went back and did some research, in fact, that 24-foot standard has been on the books since '98 at least. Not all jurisdictions hold to the 24. So when you look at, say, the Toyota as an example, they have a lot of light poles, but it's very low. And so you get this very low setting. Other jurisdictions allow it higher, but so the lighting is contained still, but it's higher than the 24. Fewer light poles, less cost is the ultimate.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask, is there a property already that has 37-foot poles right now and wants to be
No.
deemed
No.
legal?
No, this isn't, no, we're not dealing with the non-conforming issue. We will be dealing with anything that would be a new development.
Okay. So everybody who's got their poles in now, whatever they are,
That's it.
they,
Unless they
Stick
fall
with
under the
that.
very specific guidelines and they want to incur the cost of changing
if
it.
they plan to change them, they have to either meet the 24-foot standard unless they're right adjacent to I-5.
Yeah, in the standard adjacent to I-5 is they're allowed to go up to.
Right.
If-
They could go lower if they chose
They could
to do
choose
that.
go lower if they choose to do so. So this isn't addressing a redevelopment or another issue. This is dealing with new development.
So I'd like to know, or maybe this would come out at our public hearing portion, but I'd like to know whether you have heard from anybody either at WashDOT or their neighbors in the vicinity of where these taller poles might go that might experience more light scatter. Has WashDOT chimed in to say those might create a lighting problem, safety hazard on the highway
No.
or anything like that?
No, WashDOT, as part of the 60-day notice of intent process, has been notified of that. There isn't a specific development proposal before us, so
Okay,
we don't have an area of the city that have we notified people that's going to be coming.
okay,
But as part of the project review process, they will have the ability to comment.
okay. On a one-off, project by project,
Correct.
but then ahead of that, though, if anybody wanted to speak up about just the ordinance itself, they'll come into our public hearing or the city councils.
Correct. Yep. So, and in terms of the SEPA, the SEPA checklist again goes out to all the agencies and all our interested party list. To date, we have not received any comments or questions about that. So that's the first of the public noticing that goes out. The second part will be the public hearing for the ordinance.
I kind of asked this a little offline earlier, but this is just on properties that are adjacent to I-5 and would not apply to properties or new development along, say, Highway 101, another very busy highway.
Correct.
Any other questions? Okay. Then, our task tonight is to decide whether we want to go ahead with scheduling a public hearing on the topic for, was it July 14th?
I feel comfortable moving to, so I would move to schedule a public hearing for July 14th.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, good deal. It's been moved by Commissioner Rounsley and seconded by Commissioner Kirkpatrick to schedule a public hearing date for July 4th for a public hearing on ordinance number O-2026-016 for parking lot lighting. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of approving scheduling a public hearing for July 14th on this matter, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. We are ready to schedule the public hearing, July 14th. Okay, which is our next meeting. Do we know if there are other topics for that?
I don't know offhand.
Okay. There's that at least. You're good. Any other matters to bring up? All right, well, looks like we've concluded our business tonight, so our meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody. It's exactly 7:30.
Thank you all.
Yeah, have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Grace.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Marie.